Hey everybody, we're here in Indiantown Gap National Cemetery. I am here at my mother and father's gravesite. It's Father's Day. It's always one of those days that's sort of, I don't know how to feel all the time. I love my dad. We had a odd relationship for quite a few years, and I love my dad. But I'm going to tell you guys a couple stories about my mom and dad uh, here on Father's Day. Say happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Father truly is a gift. A good father truly is a blessing. So let me turn this around. Paul Leonard Miller, Private U.S. Marine Corps, World War II, December 31st, 1925, February 5th, 2011. Mariana Miller, Private U.S. Army, May 22nd, 1940 to April 25th, 2024. Got a little gray squirrel over here playing around looking for some nuts. Surprised he isn't looking over in this direction because I'm a little nuts, I've been told. Anyways, so here on Father's Day, you can see the grace standing. My dad, he had served in World War II. He was told originally that he couldn't serve. He had a hernia. He had been an extraordinarily hard worker and had given himself a hernia. And so then nobody would accept him. And his best friend, Arthur Lengel, we've talked about him a couple of times. He was killed on D-Day, Normandy beaches. So my dad went and did the thing that generation did. He went and he got the surgery. He went back, went to go be a Marine, and they said normally we wouldn't accept you because it just wouldn't be appropriate to, I don't want to film somebody that's going to be coming up here to go to their loved one's grave. But anyways, they had said, if you make it through boot camp, normally we wouldn't accept you. We'll take you. My dad made it through boot camp. I remember the one story that he had that was so profound. Let me turn this around again. He had talked about the drill sergeant. This was a guy that had been in World War I. He had served earlier in World War II. And he had, the man was, he's a tough guy. And when they had graduated, the guy started to break down and cry. And the reason he broke down and cried, because he knew from his experience with war that most of these young men, they weren't going to come back. And 3 of the 4 of my dad's best friends in camp didn't come back. He had been trained as a mortar man, also as a rifleman. Really was a heck of a guy. And it just shows my dad's character to be willing to go out there and put himself at risk, having had friends that had passed, been killed in war. And he wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to serve his country, and that's my dad. My mom, in her service, she had actually had her mom, Helen, had passed away from leukemia her senior year in high school. And back then, like my mom, everything for her was about basketball because she was an extraordinary star. Like today, I don't know if you would say she would have been in like a situation like a Caitlin Clark, but she was good. And she would have certainly been a Division I prospect. And the only option for women's basketball back then was the Army. So she chose to go into Army, and part of it was the stresses from having her mom pass, and she wasn't aware her mom was as sick as she actually was. So she sort of went to escape. And unfortunately, in doing so, she put herself in a pretty bad situation. It was a struggle. It wasn't a great experience for her. We didn't have a military funeral for her, even though she would have deserved that, because it wasn't a great experience for her. So we wanted to honor her wishes in that regard, but we do have her as listing having served her country, because she certainly did. She was honorably discharged, but it was what it was. But it just shows my parents' character. I think she also wanted to serve because her brother Art, he had served in the U.S. Army, Korean War era, never had to go to war, but he nonetheless went into the Army during that period of time. So Mom wanted to do that as well, and that's just sort of my parents here. And when you come here to a place like Indiantown Gap National Cemetery, you want to be reminded of these extraordinary people and the sacrifices that they made. Even though in this cemetery, these are the people that came back, spouses and things like that. It's not like Arlington, where those are the individuals that never got the opportunity to come back here alive. But yeah, it's always a solemn experience coming here, because it's so serene, it's so beautiful, but there's so much here that just is extraordinary. The individuals, I always say, all gave some gave all. And the wounds that aren't seen are the ones that are sometimes the worst. And so many of these individuals went through that. They saw things that no human being was ever meant to see, and saw friends killed and destroyed. And they, in essence, were casualties of war as well. So thank you to all veterans. Every single day you can come out here to a place like this and remember and acknowledge these individuals, these extraordinary heroes that we have, that were amongst us and are still amongst us today. Thank you, and happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. And as always, I want to say thank you for coming along, and we'll see you all about town.